Hey guys, I am back with another video. This time we are going to be talking about your base. Your face base. Like I said in my how I do my eyebrows video, I went on my Instagram and asked some of my friends, hey, do you guys want to see a video? I'm bored. I think right now I'm on day like 11 of self-quarantine, so I need something to occupy my time. And I had someone ask how to apply foundation. So I decided to do a video that's like how I apply my foundation / how I apply my full face base products. Now keep in mind this is just how I like to apply my face products. Everyone has their own preferences. I am not someone who likes really full heavy coverage makeup. This is as heavy as I will go with my makeup. Keep that in mind throughout the video. This might not be your cup of tea, but for anyone interested, let's go ahead and get into the video. So before you start applying anything on your face at all, you have to make sure that you are well moisturized, that your skin is clean, that your hands are clean, especially now. Honestly, having well-kept skin is your best bet for having kind of like a flawless finish to your face. Now I have very sensitive skin, like annoyingly sensitive skin, and after much trial and error, I have found that my favorite moisturizer is from The Ordinary. It is their Natural Moisturizing Factors plus HA Surface Hydration Formula, and I apply this in the morning and at night. It is just a nice, clean, simple formula. I can't deal with like fragrances and extra, like I have to have the most simple of the simple. So if you are like me, I highly recommend this. Now I typically move on to priming. Now priming is something I used to never do. Now I kind of like can't live without it, and I do a lot of steps. If you watched my how I do my eyebrows video and I said I use a lot of products to achieve my desired eyebrow look, it's kind of the same. If I'm gonna do a full face of makeup, I use a lot of products. The key though is that I use a small amount of a lot of different products. In this video, I'm gonna be doing kind of like what you would call the full beat. I don't know when people started saying that. So I guess as well as this being a how-to video, I'm also gonna be like talking about some of my favorite products. One thing that I do absolutely no matter what, you could argue this doesn't do anything, I think it does. If I don't do it, I notice a difference. I use my Becca Anti-Fatigue Under Eye Primer. It's like a blue balm. It doesn't like tint your under eyes blue by any means, but I just find it kind of like wakes up my under eyes, and I feel like it kind of helps smooth things out, make my concealer apply easier. Maybe it's all in my head, I don't know, but I always do it. So I just pick some up with my clean finger and I pat that under my eyes very gently. You want to make sure you do everything under your eyes very gently. That is very fine, thin skin. That is kind of one of the first things that starts to age. So you want to treat it with all the love and respect. We're gonna just go in with the other eye. I can do this without even a mirror, obviously. Now I have some different primers for different situations. One that I pretty much use every single day. I started using this product because of Jamie Page here on YouTube. It is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter in, oh, it's not in anything. It's just the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. It just gives like a really beautiful glow to the skin, and I'm kind of addicted to it. A cheaper option that it's not the same thing, it really isn't, but it does similar effects, is the LA Girl Luminous Glow Skin Illuminator in Afterglow. Now for me, the difference between the two is the Becca Backlight Primer gives just a genuine glow. You don't see like glitter particles or sparkles, whereas with the LA Girl Luminous Glow, it's not like in your face glitter, but I see more glitter particles on my face. So I'm gonna use the Becca Backlight Primer today. I use about a pump of it, literally a pump. I put that on the back of my hand. You could use a palette, I just don't. And then I pick that up and I focus it kind of on my cheeks, my upper cheekbone area, where I would apply highlighter. If I'm really feeling it, I'll put it all over my face. I just find that this kind of enhances where you put your highlighter, where your natural glow would be anyways. So I just blend that into the skin, take the other amount, and do the same thing on the other side. Now, one other thing that I will do with the Becca Backlight Primer or the LA Girl Luminous Primer is if I want even more of a glow, I will add just a tiny bit of that into my foundation. But on a day-to-day basis, that's not something I typically do. Two other primers that I will use in certain situations. One is the Milk Makeup Blur. I think it's just called the Blur Stick. I have like the mini version. If I feel like I'm having some problem areas, typically, you know, like around here, if I feel like my pores are just front and center, or I tend to get acne right above my eyebrows. If I'm feeling that I'm having some visible imperfections on my skin, I will just wipe this on there, blend it in. But I'm not going to use that today. Now, if I feel like I am just really needing some more hydration on my face, that is typically something that happens in the wintertime. I tend to get really dry right through here, and then sometimes right here. I will use kind of something that is like a makeup artist staple. I'm not going to try and pronounce it because I can't. But again, it's just a really like nice, simple, extra amount of hydration. Or I have added a little bit of this into my foundation if I'm needing that extra amount of moisture. Again, I'm not going to do that today. I'm feeling a little sweaty, though I don't think I need it. Okay, now that we've gone through all of that priming talk, I know I don't prime as much as some people, so I don't feel that bad. We're gonna move on to foundation. I kind of have three go-tos when it comes to my foundation. I am not someone that likes a complete full coverage, like paint face look. That's just not who I am. There is definitely time and place for it, but overall I like to be able to like feel my skin breathe through my makeup. My go-to lately has been the new Bite Beauty Changemaker foundation. It just interacts with my skin really nicely, and throughout the day, even if it does kind of blend into my skin or kind of disappear, it does it in such a nice natural way that I just feel like it's a really good match for my skin. And I use it in the shade M55. Now, another one that is gonna be more affordable than the Bite Beauty Changemaker foundation that I actually really enjoy, I find it to be a little bit more full coverage than the Changemaker foundation. I would say the Changemaker foundation is like between like medium and light, like medium to light coverage, and it's very buildable. Now, the e.l.f., what even is this? It's like the e.l.f. Acne Fighting foundation. Works really well with my skin. It's definitely more full coverage than the Changemaker, so I use that when I'm like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna go big or go home. But that's about as full coverage as I get. If you're familiar with this foundation, you'll know like I don't do the full coverage. One other foundation that it's more of like a skin tint, honestly, that I like to use more in the summer. I don't have any with me right now, is the Glossier Skin Tint. I believe that's what it's called. It honestly really doesn't do that much. It just sort of evens out your skin tone a little bit. I like it because it feels weightless and I can see my freckles through it, which is something that I love. I love my freckles. But today we're gonna be using the Bite Beauty Changemaker foundation. Now, I use a combination of a brush and a makeup sponge for this. My makeup sponge of choice is the Real Techniques Orange Dude. I don't know what it's called. I've already dampened it. Always make sure that you dampen your beauty sponge, whatever you're using. But I just take my Changemaker foundation and I squeeze about that much onto my hand. Honestly, not that much. If you want more full coverage foundation, go for it. Like I said, I like my skin to breathe a little bit more. Now I take that from my hand, I just pick up little bits at a time and I kind of just dot it all over my face. Again, you really want to make sure that you have clean hands. I'll put a little here and here. I don't put anything on my forehead because I have straight across thick bangs. So to me, it's like completely pointless. But if you don't have my hairstyle, obviously you're gonna apply it on your forehead. Okay, now I start by using a brush. I use the e.l.f. powder blurring brush. I don't use it for powder. It's just kind of like a densely packed stippling brush. I pick up any of the leftover on my hand and I just work that into my face. Kind of like small circular buffing motions and tapping. I kind of do a combination of the two. I bring it slightly down underneath my chin and my jawline. This shade actually matches me like really well. So I don't have to do a ton of that. And then I kind of work it around my eyebrows. Once it's mostly in my skin, my big thing with foundations is I never want something to sit on top of my skin. I prefer it be blended in and kind of worked more into my skin. So then I just take my beauty sponge and just kind of for an extra like finish, I just tap that over my face to pick up any excess foundation or to just blend it in a little bit further. Typically there isn't a ton to blend in at that point. Okay, that is the amount of foundation I use. I don't use any more foundation than that. From there, we move on to concealer. Concealer is my favorite thing, like maybe in the whole world. It's like concealer and eyebrows are like tied. I use the ColourPop No Filter concealer in the shade, what is this? The shade Light 18. I've bought so many of these, like you can't even understand. I know that the ColourPop No Filter concealer is kind of like not controversial, but people either love it or hate it. Some people think it's too like crackly and drying. I don't know, maybe it's because I use the Becca Anti-Fatigue Under Eye Primer that I don't have that issue, but to me this just works really well. It isn't too like thick. Something like the Tarte Shape Tape to me is always just too thick for under my eyes. I don't know. This is a great option for me. You might love it, you might hate it. You might not know about it, and in that case, I recommend you try it. So I take my concealer, my little wand, I go under my eyes, about that much, no more than that. Then I just go around my face and any areas that I feel need a little extra concealing, I just dab a little on there. I typically have some scarring on my chin. And right above my eyebrows. Okay, now that I look so cute, I'm gonna go back in with my brush and use that to buff out any of the concealer on my face. So not under my eyes, but just on my face. Okay, and like I did before with my foundation, I'm gonna go in with my beauty blender and just kind of use that as like an extra blending tool for anything on my face. Okay, and now I use my beauty blender to blend under my eyes. I just feel like it's a more gentle tool to use under my eyes than something like a brush. And I feel like I can get a more precise blend like into my inner corner and everything like that. From here, if there are any spots like I feel like need more coverage or if my under eyes need a little bit more help, I'll just add a little bit more concealer and blend it out again. But today, I think we're good. I don't have a problem with like the occasional little imperfection showing. We're all human. So now to set my under eyes, because honestly, no matter what I use, I get creasing under my eyes. It's just like how my skin decides to act under there. I go in with the e.l.f. Under Eye setting powder, whatever it's called. I love this stuff. I've bought so many of these over the years, and I go in with my Real Techniques setting brush. Again, I love this brush. I have multiple of them. They just work for literally everything. So I pick some of that up on my brush and I just pat that under my eye. I make sure to get it in where any of the creasing might be. If I have any excess, I take it up on my eyelid or in between my eyebrows. I tend to get creasing there. I have one of my like 11 lines appearing already and I'm like, I'm 24. Why is this happening? Okay, and now from here, if you have really dry skin, I don't recommend doing this next step. I have combo skin. So for me, this is just part of my routine. I don't do it to the full extent that like a drag queen would or something, but I take a loose face powder. Right now I have my Airspun loose face powder in Naturally Neutral. It's just a good drugstore option. And I pick up some of that on the flat side of my Real Techniques sponge and I bake under my eyes. Again, I don't go like full-blown crazy, but I do bake under my eyes. Okay, now usually during this time while my under eyes are baking, I go and do my eyebrows, so I'm gonna go do that. My eyebrows are on. I feel like my full self. Now it's time to get this excess powder off of my under eyes. To get this powder off, I like to use a lightening powder, so like a yellow tone powder or just a very light tone powder. I go in with that and I just use that to brush away the excess powder from under my eyes. Now from there, I like to just lightly dust my face with a setting powder, especially in the spring and summer. In the winter, it's not something that I'm like as strict about doing. But as we move into the warmer months, it's very much so something that I do. I actually use the e.l.f. Sheer Tint Finishing Powder in Fair Light, which Fair Light is not, that is like medium. Like, I don't know what kind of drugs you're smoking over there. And I just go in with like a big fluffy brush. If I am going to do cream, contour, or blush, I wait to do this step. However, today I'm just gonna do my normal powder. And there we have like a completed complexion. I'm gonna go ahead and just do my like bronzer, contour, blush, and highlight real quick. If you guys want a separate video on that, I can do that. But I'm just gonna go ahead and rush through that really quickly. All right, and the last touch I usually do when it comes to my complexion, my base, is I use a setting spray. Now, I honestly typically use an inexpensive rosewater spray. I really like the Mario Badescu one. Right now, I actually have one from Trader Joe's, because why not? On a day-to-day basis, that is typically what I use to set my face. And I don't go like super crazy with the spraying. I know some people are just like, they do this for like 10 minutes straight. I don't really. I just do enough to get it on there, set it, and move on. If I'm feeling fancy, I will use, I like the Smashbox, I think it's like Smashbox Primer Water or something. I'll use that. I don't have any of that right now. The mist on that is premium, or I'll use something that has like a shimmer or a glitter in it if I'm like really feeling fancy. But on a day-to-day basis, I typically just use like a rose water based spray. The Mario Badescu Cucumber one is also really nice and refreshing. Okay, and there you have it. That is how I do my base, my full beat, if you will, of my face. If you're interested in seeing like my no makeup look, which is mostly just complexion, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to do that. That is something that I have been wearing more often, especially with this lovely coronavirus situation happening. I'm just like, I can't put in the effort. This is the first time I've had a full face of makeup on in like over a week. This is crazy. As usual, I will have all the products I used throughout this video listed below in my description. I hope that this was a helpful video for some of you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.